From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. The markets send mixed signals as weather forecasts and recession fears both battle in the markets.
The forecast really couldn't look any worse for anyone west of the Mississippi River.
Livestock producers aren't just paying more for feed. In some cases, they're on the verge of running out.
It seems to be most severe right now in the west.
Why rail issues could grow even more severe during harvest. Divine intervention as a stranger saved one teen's life.
He was there to save me when I needed it.
And a blanket that brought comfort and even more meaning to the rescue. And in John's world,
things are looking up for space travel.
Now for the news, the commodity markets had a lot to digest this week between weather and a new supply and demand report from USDA. That report stirring up some debate with what some view as an aggressive cut to soybean demand. USDA worked in the 2.63 million acre drop in soybeans from that June acreage report in this latest one. They left yield unchanged, but production was decreased by 135 million bushels to 4.51 billion bushels.
They did reduce old crop soybean crush demand by 10 million bushels, reduce new crop soybean crush demand by 10 million bushels, and they reduced the new crop export outlook by 65 million bushels, which is questionable while we're in the midst of a very aggressive front-end loaded bean program right now.
Now, corn production in this WASDE report was up 45 million bushels to 14.51 billion, with yield unchanged and higher acres. New crop ending stocks were raised 70 million bushels from last month to 1.47 billion bushels. And all wheat production was 44 million bushels higher at 1.78 billion, with winter wheat raised 1.2 billion and other spring wheat to 503 million bushels. But what seemed to be the bigger news item out of this latest report is USDA showing just how devastating the drought is for cotton production this year. The report showing an increase in planted acres, but it also comes with higher abandonment due to deepening drought in Texas. Harvested area is nearly 600,000 acres less this month, or 32%, which is the third highest abandonment on record. The current record was set during the 2011 drought when abandonment hit 36%.
As bad of a start as the crop had, and as bad as the weather rain forecast looks going forward, it wouldn't surprise me at all for them to bump it up, for the actual abandonment rate to climb from here. And whether it'll exceed 36% is anybody's guess, but this is one of those historically very bad years.
Now, Robinson says fundamentals still don't explain why the December cotton contract has dropped a whopping 31% since its high of $1.32 set on May 17th. So just how bad is the drought in some places? Well, it's so bad that it's forcing some ranchers in Texas to cull their cattle. Just look at this long line outside of the Emory, Texas livestock auction. Texas Farm Bureau says the ranchers are selling cattle because of a shortage of hay and water. So ranchers are also left with few choices except to bring them to market now. They say more than 4 times the normal number of cattle are arriving at some auctions as part of weekly sales. The latest drought monitor shows that 86% of the state is in some kind of drought. Well, new numbers show inflation didn't just continue last month, it actually accelerated, with the consumer price index rising 1.3% over May, the push coming from record gas prices, soaring rents, and higher grocery bills.
I think the key there is energy prices. Energy prices by themselves made up half of the monthly increase, and the report doesn't factor in the decline in energy prices that had occurred in July.
The CPI for June was above expectations at 9.1%, a new peak with inflation the highest since November 1981. The bond and currency markets are now indicating high odds of a 75-point rate increase. Canada also raised its rate recently by more than the expected 1%. Well, as the ongoing crisis continues in Ukraine, talks among Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, and the UN about getting grain out of Ukraine appear to be progressing. Officials are working to resume Ukrainian grain exports via the Black Sea port of Odessa, with Turkish officials now saying a framework deal has been reached. A UN official says more technical work needs to take place before the deal is actually done. The Turkish defense minister said the deal would be signed when the parties meet again. That's coming up next week. That's it for the news. Well, there's a lot of eyes on the heat that is building next week. We'll have a check of your forecast next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Endzone from Farm Shop MFG, which allows you to rehydrate your soybeans from 10 to 13%. On a 20,000 bushel bin, that's an extra semi-load added to your bottom line. Order your Endzone fan by July 31st and get $200 off.